Stock Market Documentary Channel presents, U.S. Economy Collapse in 2016? The U.S. economy is rock strong. On the other hand, so the Commission subordinate merchants, examiners, and asset directors will let you know. They would have let you know the same thing in 2007 and 2008, just before the Great Recession and money markets crash. U.S. financial breakdown in 2016? Is it conceivable that the world's greatest economy will confront its greatest test 1 year from now? While most talking heads on Wall Street think the U.S. is heading in the right bearing, the truth is, there are all that could possibly be needed markers to recommend the U.S. economy will go under genuine weight in 2016. Be that as it may, then reality set in. Just a couple of months after the fact, the world was very nearly financial breakdown. Regardless of the notice signs, we're listening to the same sort of confused hopefulness today. The columns supporting the U.S. economy are more delicate than they were before the Great Recession. In spite of being amidst an alleged recuperation, the worldwide economy still seems, by all accounts, to be in a retreat. American laborers aren't profiting by the long-in-the-tooth buyer market, underemployment stays high, expansion is much higher than the U.S. government's authentic count, 33% of Americans have no crisis investment funds, and most stress more over their accounts than whatever else. This is all after trillions of dollars and years of interfering from the Federal Reserve and other national banks far and wide. Subsequently, the U.S. could encounter a financial breakdown in 2016. Strangely, as per a late study, 2018 is the year most financial analysts trust the following downturn will hit the U.S. If not 2018, 2020 is the following date on the timetable before the U.S. economy wavers. I believe they're both off base. Government statistics hiding U.S. financial collapse. In the event that swelling is under wraps, it doesn't generally make a difference if wages are stagnant. Be that as it may, this basically isn't the situation. What's more, the authority U.S. numbers are truly deceptive. As per government measurements, expansion was held to only 0.6% amid the initial 7 months of 2015. Tragically, that information ignores the most fundamental things that everybody utilizes, including sustenance and vitality costs. Elective non-government measures of swelling recount a totally distinctive story. The Chapwood Index is an option expansion marker that takes a gander at the unadjusted expenses and value vacillation of the main 500 things that Americans spend their cash on in the 50 biggest urban communities in the nation. The file takes a gander at the vacillations in the expense of things, for example, Advil, Starbucks espresso, protection, gas, tolls, fast food eateries, toothpaste, oil changes, auto washes, satellite TV and internet administration, cell phone administration, cleaning, motion picture tickets, beauty care products, exercise center enrollments, home repairs, piano lessons, clothing cleanser, lights, school supplies, stopping meters, pet sustenance, and People magazine. For instance, in 2014, the CPI rose 0.8%. Be that as it may, as indicated by the Chapwood Index, significant urban areas like New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, San Diego, and Boston saw swelling for the trailing 12 months, through to June of this current year, keep running more than 10%. In San Jose, the Chapwood Index enlisted a 13.7% ascent in the typical cost for basic items. Indeed, even Colorado Springs, the city with the most reduced increment of 6.6%, was still 5.8% higher than the official CPI figure. On the off chance that you happen to work in Boston or San Jose and got a 0.8% bring up in 2014, it wasn't sufficiently about to cover the expansion in your everyday costs. Regardless of what the official government information lets you know. Yet, expansion implies more than simply higher costs at the market. Ostensible gross domestic product, GDP, is emptied by the measure of swelling being utilized to ascertain genuine GDP and genuine GDP development. Accordingly, for a given ostensible GDP development rate, thinking little of swelling after some time would bring about overestimating genuine GDP development over the long run. In the event that this is valid, a U.S. financial breakdown may have as of now started. Genuine wages falling for average Americans. Around 70% of U.S. total national output, GDP, originates from shopper spending. The agent word there being purchaser. So you can't generally foresee what the U.S. economy is going to do unless you perceive how the normal American is getting along. It isn't lovely. Disregarding the exceedingly touted unemployment rate, the underemployment rate, those working low maintenance who need all-day work, and the individuals who have quit looking yet need a vocation, stays above 10%. On top of that, generally U.S. specialists have not seen any change in their wages. Truth be told, when you consider swelling subsequent to the subsidence evidently finished in 2009, compensation have declined for generally laborers. Source: NLP.org, last got to September 22, 2015. I enter as confirmation, somewhere around 2009 and 2015, 20% of individuals in the most reduced paid occupations saw their wages decay, a normal of 5.7%. Those included individuals working in retail, nourishment arrangement, individual consideration helps, cleaners, and home well-being assistant. In particular, for eatery cooks, the decrease was 9.8%, sustenance prep specialists 7.7%, and for home well-being associates, 6.2%. For all U.S. specialists, the buying force of their normal salary declined by 4%, which means, the typical cost for basic items in the United States outpaced any expansion in pay. This recommends a large number of Americans have practically zero monetary security. It's not as though this is brand new information to anybody. Indeed, even the Federal Reserve has said stagnating wages is confirmation the U.S. economy has not completely recuperated. What's more, this will adversely affect the general economy. On the off chance that genuine wages fall, buyers can't bring home the bacon, not to mention help economy development through spending. Just advances and charge card is keeping family units above water. In the event that purchasers are compelled to control spending, a worldwide subsidence in 2016 is practically inescapable. A huge number of Americans have little to no money. Not just are Americans making less and spending more, they additionally have almost no cash put aside for crises. As per one report, about 33%, 34%, of American-grown UPS don't have any crisis reserve funds. That implies 72 million Americans have no well-being net on the off chance that they lose their occupation, have sudden costs, or can't bear the cost of the increasing average cost for basic items costs. Half, 47%, said their funds would cover their everyday costs for 90 days or less. Included up, and 81% of Americans are either at a limit or only 90 days from it. As per monetary specialists, the individuals who profit and know how to spending plan their cash, say Americans ought to set aside 15% of their gross wage if there should be an occurrence of crises, notwithstanding retirement and different objectives. In any case, it appears that few have possessed the capacity to take after that wise exhortation. It appears as though Americans are more regrettable off than before the Great Recession. Of course, Americans stress more over cash once a day than whatever else, including their well-being. In another study, 1 in 5 Americans reasons for alarm living paycheck to paycheck for whatever is left of their lives, with just about the same number of individuals stressed over being in the red until the end of time. That deciphers into failing to be ready to resign. Be that as it may, at any rate they have ultra-low loan costs to depend on. Section 1 ended. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to our channel. Stock Market Documentary Channel presented.